at that. So much work. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Queen of the Ratchet podcast. You know me as Queen of the Ratchet, but I am also Joshua Gilliard. I am here with Doshynko.com. Let them know a little bit about yourself.
My name is Doshynko. I'm an alkaline electric herbalist based in Atlanta, Miami, and New York. I basically help people reverse diseases using the alkaline electric diet and also alkaline electric herbs. I am one of the family members of the late herbalist Dr. Sebi, and we're basically just continuing on his work and, helping people to change their lives.
Were you close to Dr. Sebi growing up as a child?
Actually, I wasn't. The thing is my uncle and my aunts, they would travel a lot, and it was more like sometimes they'd pop into town and be like, "Oh, they're in town," and so you would just hang out at like family parties and things like that. And so really and truly, he and my aunt were just like, my uncle and aunts that were always out of town. We barely ever saw, we didn't see them that often, and it was more my aunt who was in town a lot more. But we didn't really become close until I went to Honduras to live there. I was living in Honduras for like 3 months.
Wow.
And then that's when that's when we became close. He and I kind of had a lot in common.
Yeah.
There are certain aspects of his personality that was like completely different from mine. Although looking back now, I realize a lot of the things that he was telling me were completely true. And, based on my experiences over the last couple of years, I completely understand why old man was telling me certain things. And, I was like, damn, dude was right, and the fact is, the way that people know him isn't like the same that I know him. In fact, even while I was in Honduras, I didn't even know he was famous. Yes, I knew he was, did speeches. Yes, I know he was like really close to Lisa Lopez. I've never met her, but I was, I lived in the same village that she was when she was, visiting him. And, yeah, so I didn't even know at the time that he was like as famous as, he is now. He was just, my crazy uncle, Alfredo, crazy old man talking about all these, stories and and I kind of wish that we all have our regrets, especially when it comes to our elders. I kind of wish I had taken more time to sit down with him and pick his head a lot more. Sometimes I just wasn't in the mood for it because, I was a lot younger and a lot of these things I kind of cared about at a certain time and didn't really care about. And so I do wish that at the time I had sat down and, even recorded some of the things that we would talk about. But yeah, a lot of stuff of my experience with Sebi is really personal. Not so much in the aspect of healing. The healing aspect came from my aunts and my cousins. Mm-hmm. They were the ones who were in the background, who were helping, taking care of the clients or doing the consultations, making the herbs, coming up with the herbal formulas. And they're the ones who really trained me.
So there's a lot of information, right, that gets put out there about Dr. Sebi that becomes conspiracy theories. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about what is being put out about how to heal. Why hasn't the family come more forward in the public eye and took down some of these false conspiracy theories about what Dr. Sebi was actually saying?
Can you be a little bit more specific about conspiracy theories? Because there are quite a few, and so certain theories would need to be addressed in certain ways. So, in order to answer your question a little bit more thoroughly, could you talk about which conspiracy theories?
One of the biggest conspiracy theories, like when I was studying him, and especially when you see on TikTok, was that the government had him offed because he was putting out information about healing and the idea of what food can do, and like the idea that we shouldn't be eating certain type of things. So And I mean, I'm not fearful of that, but do you believe that there was
No.
this idea of like, hey, you cannot say that. Let's cut him off from saying these type of things.
So, it's a mix. One, me myself as an herbalist, and all herbalists do need to be careful about what they're saying, because the fact is the U.S. government. Is the American system is really set up to make money off of people. They make money off of people being sick. So this is the reason why a lot of synthetic foods are being placed, a lot of synthetic materials are being placed in foods because, they put sugar in almost everything. With sugar, it helps to deteriorate the body, causing nervous issues, causing an increase of cancer, diabetes, and there's all these kind of medications for this. So yes, the American system is basically made to make people sick, so that way they can make money off of them. When people aren't sick, they're not making money. So we as herbalists do have to be careful, especially about using the word cure. I myself don't use it. Me and my aunt, Mrs. Dr. Sebi, my aunt Pat, we kind of go back and forth like, yo, we're not in Honduras anymore. We're not in the Caribbean. You can't say them kind of things. But she's like, I don't care. Da, 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 da. But all of my cousins and my cousin's aunt, I'm sorry, my cousin's mother, Ma,
Hmm.
we avoid using that word just to avoid the headache of being taken to court like Sabi. None of us wants to have to go through that all over again. And so yes, we do have to be careful about what is said because we are a threat to the system. It is what it is. Now, as with Sabi being killed, being taken out by the government,
Hmm.
no, that's not true. And the fact is we know who killed or who unalived him. We have evidence, and this is something that is really, really, painful for me to talk because it was a family member. This same family member uh, attempted to do it once before in Honduras. There was a time that Sebi wasn't eating correctly. Sebi went through these things or these stages where he would just stop eating alkaline. Okay, when he would do that, sometimes yeah, he would just do fast or take the herbal formulas and basically cleanse it out of this body. But being in the type of position that he was, it was really stressful. And on top of that, there were people who were out to get him, not so much the government, like just enemies that you would have. All right. And this is part of the reason why he was so mistrustful of people because he just never knew who he could trust because there were always people who were after him for his money. Um, but there was one time in specific where he went overboard and he got sick and he got so sick to the point that he was unconscious. He was bedridden, and in his house in Honduras, it was a big, beautiful glass house, but it had stairs going upstairs, going up. And someone during that time put Vaseline and water and oil all along the rails and all along the steps, hoping that he would come down and fall because the stairs were steep. All right.
Hmm.
This is the same person that paid somebody else in Honduras to create a poison that was able to be snuck into the jail. And, there were other people there that were so supposedly close with him, and that probably were accessories in order to be able to sneak the poison in their body. Now, a lot of people, this may be a weird concept for or a weird thought for a lot of people, but in the Caribbean, especially when it comes to spiritualists, especially when it comes to people who practice any kind of Afro religion or Afro craft, they can create poisons that can't be traced.
Hmm.
So basically, he was poisoned, and this is one of the when he had a conversation with my cousin Usha. One of the things that he told her was, "I'm going on a water fast because I can't eat anything because somebody was trying to poison me." And apparently, that person was able to just put it in water or put it however, because there are certain poisons that you don't even have to ingest. You can just touch it. There's many cases where people would make powders and just leave it outside your door. And you walk outside to your door barefoot and you end up poisoned. And they're not able to trace it. So, somehow poison was being able to get in. And there's also a lot of things that were conveniently set up for people to make money off of his death right after. Say, for example, all of a sudden, while he was in jail, the corporation or his company in California all of a sudden was switched from an LLC to a corporation while he was in jail. So how can you sign documents to switch a company from an LLC to a corporation if you're in jail? When he dies, of course, who takes over the company? The people who were part of the corporation. So, conveniently, he dies and people are able to make money off of it.
What was That's a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back and talk more about Dr. Sebi because I need to ingest everything that I just heard. We will be right back after this commercial break, baby.